Hello, everybody. My name is Harlequin Murray, and welcome to our team Zoom. I get the distinct honor and privilege to introduce you to my enroller, Miss Ellen Winn. She has been with DAC for 4 years now, and she just to give you a little bit about her background for those of you who are new here, which welcome to all the new people. We're excited that you're here. But Ellen grew up on a farm just outside of Atlanta, Georgia, in a town called Dallas, Georgia, and lived there for quite a while. She's actually now living back on that property. And anyway, she had been in the restaurant industry for a very, very long time and got into management there and was in charge of training and was an area director with that company. Actually, I don't know what the exact title is, but she was a regional type manager for the state of Georgia for Domino's Pizza. And back about 17 years ago, I believe it was, she started her own restaurant and had a couple of restaurants that she started up on her own. But she's got a lot of experience. She's been a business owner for a very long time and continues to be one. But I met her back in about 17, 18 years ago now, and she was doing she was in network marketing, and she was actually the national training director for a network marketing company. And that's how I initially met her. She was my upline there, and we've been friends ever since. But Ellen has a lot of experience with doing training. She loves people and loves helping people. And she's built teams of thousands and thousands of people. And without further ado, and just to let you know, she is an area director in the DAC comp plan and a 1-star executive with the longevity plan. But without further ado, Miss Ellen Winn. Take it away, Ellen.
Hey, Harlequin, coming off camera here in just a second, still working on slides, and I don't have everything ready on the team recruits, but I'll go through them because I still have them on a spreadsheet.
No, I knew you got them on a spreadsheet.
I know. Thank you for all your work on that this afternoon. Let's see. Let me make sure I have that right page pulled up. I do. Yep. Okay.
But while she's doing that, I hope you guys all had a fabulous Monday. And I know we've got a ton of new people that have joined the team in the last few days. So welcome to you guys. And if you have somebody on your team that you know is not on here at this point, go ahead and send them a quick text and say, hey, come and join us. And Mark, I see that you've got your hand up. Did you have something that you needed? Okay.
All right, we're set. Okay, as I said, I don't have the last 2 weeks on the pretty slides, but I've got them on a spreadsheet because Harlequin worked hard on that for me this afternoon. Our numbers are just off the chart, and it's kind of hard to play catch up right now. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you for that introduction, Harlequin. I couldn't do this without you every week, and I appreciate the value that you bring as a friend and the value that you bring to the team. It's always a lot of fun working with you, so I appreciate you very much. For those of you, this is your first visit with us. This is Ellen Winn. I'm an independent agent and team leader. I've been with DAC since June of 2018. And I'm your senior team leader with this organization. As far as I know, there's no one between me and the company that is actively involved with DAC. So you get direct communication from me. And I talk to David Rutz on a regular basis outside of the communication that we all join and participate in on Mondays and Fridays. So if you've got something going on that we can't find resolution, then we've got a direct channel to get to the owner of the company, as does Harlequin. So I appreciate you all being here. We're going to get into slide share mode, and I'm going to go through our team recognition like I do every week. And let's see, Harlequin, are you seeing the team recognition slide?
Yes.
Looking good. Okay, awesome. Okay, guys, we're going to get into the top recruiters. And we talk about top recruiters. We're going to have testimonial on funding here in a minute, but recruiting is the lifeblood of our business. So that's why I always go through this every week. It's important that we continue growing our organization. Statistically, only about 1 out of 10 agents, I should say, 90% of the agents that sign up with DAC either don't get trained, don't move forward, or don't actively do what is necessary to be successful here. So we're looking for that 10%er that is going to take DAC and run with it. So therefore, it's a numbers game, and we're always looking for those new recruits that are going to plug into the system, get trained, and start following the system and communicating with their local community, reaching out through their social networks, asking for referrals from friends and family, and so on. And that's how you build a DAC business. So if you're watching this and you're saying, well, you guys are just talking about recruiting, is that all it's about? Not at all. Again, we're looking for those 10%ers that are going to take this business and run with it. But our business is strictly about gathering clients. We need agents to help us gather clients. That is our marketing model, word of mouth marketing. We don't have high paid television ads or any of that. It's all on independent agent shoulders. And if we don't have enough agents out on the street, then we're not making an impact on the local business owners that so desperately need the services that we have to offer. So with that said, let's get into the recruiting numbers. We're running a little bit behind. So I'm going to start off with the week of 6/23 through 6/29. This is, we're doing 3 separate weeks here tonight on this announcement. Last week, I attempted to get those numbers that we were in arrears out to everyone, and time just did not permit for me to do that with everything that I have going. So for the week of 6/23 through 6/29, we had some tremendous numbers on the board. In first place, Lillian Blackshear came in. She had 34 new recruits for the week. Congratulations. Those are great numbers. Second place, Janice Burks with 24 new recruits. In third place, Michelle Miller with 21 new recruits. In fourth place, Erica Sanford with 18 new recruits. Fifth place, Alyssa Barnes with 13 new recruits. Denitra Ricks came in sixth place with 12 new recruits. Jasmine Squire with 11 new recruits came in seventh. And eighth place, we had a 4-way tie, each with 10 new agent recruits: Michaela Douglas, Madeline Sneed, Daviana Standoaks, Rika Wright. And then in ninth place, we had a 6-way tie with 9 new recruits each. We had Tony Ballinger, Nakia Bozeman, Dominique Brown, Reggie Campbell, Dajuron Hart, and Tammy Randall. In 10th place, we had a 7-way tie, looks like, each with 8 new agents apiece. That was Shannon Bellamy, Steve DeWitt, Arisa John, Eric Johnson, Jabecca Jones, Crystal Marrero, and Gina Robinson. So that rounds out the top 10 for that week. In all, we had a total of 896 new agents added to the team. And the best news out of the total numbers, is that 352 people in our organization recruited at least one person. That is amazing to have that many people that have invited and had at least one person join the group. So congratulations to all of you that made the top 10 leaderboard for that week. And congratulations if your name is not on the board, but you're one of the ones that had a new agent recruited for that week. Congratulations to you as well. This company cannot grow without you bringing other new agents on and expanding our organization. Okay, so the next week, I don't have that slide. So I'm going to have to go over to my actual spreadsheet that Harlequin was working on here. And this is going to be for the week of the 30th. Let me see if I can blow that up some. The week of June 30 through 7/16. I did have the places marked out here. So we'll go through the top 10 places here. In first place, we had Dominique Brown with 14 new recruits for the week. In second place, we had a two-way tie with Jebecca Jones and Latoya Porter. Each had 10 new recruits for the week. In third place, Alyssa Barnes with 9 new recruits for the week. In fourth place, we had a multi-way tie with Sharonda Bailey, Michaela Douglas, Dexter Porter, and Madeline Sneed. Each had 8 new agent recruits for the week. In fifth place, we had Eric Johnson. In sixth place, we had a 4-way tie, Kadisha Birch, Galena Chamizo, Eugene Clapp, and Noni Walker. Each had 6 new agent recruits. In seventh place, a multi-way tie, we had Lillian Blackshear, Dana Cannon, Sharitha Hyman, Kayla Joshua, Samantha Mungeon, and LaSharal Nance and Jasmine Squire. Each had 5 new agent recruits. In eighth place, we had Dennis Robinson with 4 new recruits. In ninth place, we had a several-way tie with Shalrick Alford, Faith Anderson, Reggie Campbell, Christian Cardoso, Dale Carroll, Tracy Charlton, George Diaz Jr., Malik Dorlias, Laquita Little, Paul Marshall, go back, Alan Taylor, Carlos Wiley, and Rika Wright. Each had 3 new recruits, all tied for 9th place. And in 10th place, with 2 new agent recruits each, we had Nerva Andre, Jean-Claude Samiso, Melody Bazemore, Octavia Calloway Norman, Jasmine Carter, Brittany Chapman, Jared Davis, Tabrina Fairley, Bruno Floridor, Kim French, Quintera Henderson, Chiquita Howard, Seneca James, Tiffany Jones, Patience Jordan, Sinetta Lawson, Jeremy Little, Raven Mark, Janika Mitchell, Jocelyn Montgomery, Prime Choice Partners, that's me, Janera Ruth, Erica Sanford, Albert Smith, Taisha Smith, Shanna Thomas, Lakeisha Walker, Robert Williams, and Katina Willis. Each had 2 new recruits each. For that week, we had a total of 404 new agents recruited and 225 people recruited at least 1 person. Amazing numbers. Now, and that was during a holiday week. So that was the 4th of July weekend. For the last week, July 7th through July the 13th, I didn't even get the places listed here. I'll just run through these. We had a total recruited of 340 recruits, 191 people recruited at least 1 person. So let's go through these. Alyssa Barnes had 29 new recruits leading the charge. Lillian Blackshear came in with 9 new recruits. Lavonda Goodman had 9 new recruits. Samantha Mungeon, 8 new recruits. Dominique Brown and Michaela Douglas and Erica Sanford each had 6 recruits. Latoya Porter had 5. Destiny Baquette, Octavia Calloway Norman, Eugene Clapp, Dominique Grant, and me all had 4 new recruits. And I'm Ellen Winn. I go under my Prime Choice Partners LLC is how I do my DAC business. With 3 new recruits each. We had Jamaica Ashley, Kadisha Birch, Esteban Carrion III, George Diaz, Keandria Harris, Dejaron Hart, Min Hoon, Eric Johnson, Rodrigo McNeil, Merrick Moore, Dexter Porter, Alicia Scobie, Farron Thomas, Carla Wiley, Katina Willis, Silena Willis, Maurice Wright, Tiffany Allen. I'm sorry, those all had 3 new recruits. That was 17 people that had 3 new recruits each. And then let's go through who had 2. We had Tiffany Allen, Faith Anderson, Angela Bolton, Renata Brown, Tammy Klein, Michael Edmondson, Roselle Gray, Christina Hill, Bridget Hudson, Jebecca Jones, Ashley King, Valtina Lewis, Anthony Logan, Natalie Lopez, Jamila Love, Rafin Mark, Tawan Mayo, Michelle Miller, LaCharelle, Nance, Ova Polo, Gina Robinson, Tracy Ross Hines, Sanyika Rowan, Pearl Santos, Philip Trotter, Ebony Tyson, Jasmine Wilcox, Robert Williams, Tiandi Williams, Charlene Wilson. Each had 2 new recruits each. So we had 30 folks that had 2 new recruits. Again, for that week, we had 340 recruits. 191 people had at least 1 new recruit for the week. So congratulations, every one of you who are having conversations with people about this amazing business opportunity. Tonight, I'm going to take you through some great information. You're going to want to grab pen and paper. We're going to touch on some little nuances in the compensation plan and bring awareness to you on some exciting ways that you can get compensated. Okay, so let me remind you before we get into that, that we have our summer sizzle promotion still going. What that means is anybody that you recruit through the end of July, you will be auto engaged on that person and eligible to earn your matching bonus of a minimum of 25% enroller bonus on at least their first 2 funded clients, no matter when they get those first 2 clients, whether it's within their first 30 days, within their first year, or 2 years down the road, whether you're qualified or not according to the actual compensation plan, you'll be locked in as auto engaged on those recruits. So continue recruiting through the end of this month and you'll be auto engaged and eligible for those commissions any way you shake it, no matter when they get their first 2 commissions. So here I want to, Harlequin, did we have another testimonial besides our promotion? I'll go straight to that if we did not have another testimonial.
Yes, we do actually.
Okay, all right, awesome. Let's do that. And then we're going to get into our big promotion for the week. And that's also a big testimonial. But first, let's go into this. I'm going to do stop screen share so that we can see who we have. I'll let you take it.
Awesome. Well, this week we are going to be highlighting Arissa John. She is now a DAC 2. So she's only been with the company for a little over a month and she's already had 2 fundings. She got one last month for, I believe it was $15,000, and then she just got another one. So I'm going to let her go ahead and tell you all about it.
I see her on camera there. Awesome.
Yes, she is.
Thank you so much. I'm just going to give it back to you guys. Thank you for hosting these weekly team calls, Ellen and Harlequin. I definitely appreciate the leadership. I want to give it back to my coach as well, Erica Sanford. Thank you for plugging us in to this amazing platform that is changing lives. It's definitely funding businesses. My name is Arissa John. I've been with DAC a little over a month, I believe. My first funding was a total stranger. I made a post on Facebook. I gave them the information. They met all the qualifications and that person was funded for about $15,000. Now, my newest funding was for $30,000. This young lady, she was a client of mine in our credit repair company. She actually reached out to me to become one of my one-on-one Airbnb students. She became one of my students, and I knew she was a serial entrepreneur. So I just, asked her, was she looking for extra capital to actually fund her business? I asked, what's her annual or her monthly revenue, and she did meet the qualifications, and she was literally approved for $30,000. So now she's going to actually use that to buy more inventory for her boutique to expand her services.
Awesome.
Awesome.
And what are you going to do with that $1,980 extra that you got out of that funding? What are you going to buy with that one, Arisa?
I'm letting the bill up on my Relevate card.
Awesome. Yeah, I hear there's a nice interest payment on that for funds that you keep in your account. So congratulations. Thank you for sharing that testimonial, and also how you got your clients. That is great. And you did exactly what we teach, and that's to reach out to your warm market. So letting people that know that you're in the funding space is your best way to get started in this business. Awesome. Did you have anything else before we go on to our next testimonial?
I'm just saying, don't play with the opportunity. Definitely get eyes in front of your business, get it out there, what we have to offer, because we're definitely helping business owners take their businesses to the next level. So just make sure you're doing your part to get this information in front of them, and DAC will do the rest.
You got it. Great job. All right, Harlequin, is there anybody else that we had up?
Nope, we're going to let our next person be the speaker.
Okay, let me do the drum roll, please. We'll go back here. And guys, if you're part of the DAC Agents Facebook group, which you should be, you should have seen this post in the group last week. We have our newest DAC 4 in the team. And guys, the reason that I made that post in the Facebook group, DAC 4 is a really big deal. This is the highest level you can reach in the compensation plan on your own efforts, and it's a little bit harder to get there because it has higher revenue requirements or higher funded value requirements to get there. So huge congratulations goes out to Jebecca Jones. Jebecca did a testimonial a couple of weeks ago for us on the fundings that he had just gotten started. He's only been with DAC now just over 30 days. So it's exciting to have him moving through the compensation plan, which I'm going to do a deep dive on here in just a few minutes. And you'll see that progression of how he got to DAC 4. The next level in the comp plan is DAC AD. And you cannot get to DAC AD without having some team structure in place. But with that, congratulations. I'm going to pull us off of screen share again so that Jebecca can get on camera with us here. Would like to hear from you and just share your excitement with your fellow DAC family here. Jebecca, can you hear us?
Absolutely. How's it going?
All right, excellent. Looking good, man. Congratulations.
Appreciate it, guys. First of all, I just want to thank Harlequin, my direct mentor, Miss Amina Rashid, Miss Erica Sanford, and Miss Alyssa Barnes, and everybody. Really, I mean, this has been fun. As Miss Barnes and Miss Sanford say, funding is fun. It's fun helping people, and this has been just an incredible ride, guys. This came at a perfect time. For those who don't know my story, I've been involved in this industry for about 20 years, and just recently, over the last 5 years, started really to see success. And when I first saw this, I got excited because of the rawness of it. I mean, I love the fact that I love companies that have products and services. You guys know I love that, but just the rawness of just being able to have the conversations with people. Miss John, congratulations to you. You'll be knocking on the door real. I already know we're gonna be congratulating you real soon. And I'll just say this. I don't want to have too long, but anyone can do this. This is really not difficult. You just got to believe in what you're doing. Realize you're actually helping people accomplish their goals, and be intentional with your day. Every day I'm talking to somebody about fun. I was telling my son, he's 18. I want him to be a DAC 4, and I want him to know it's really simple. Tell people I offer funding. You may not know this, but I offer business funding. Just so you know, I offer business funding. I may not have told you, but I offer business funding. And the more you say that, the more you believe that, and the more you realize that what we have is helping people. Everyone's not going to say yes. Some people might make excuses about the funding, but for the most part, people need what we're offering and they love it. So I just thank you guys. I'm excited. I won't take any more of your time. Thank you, Ms. Winn. Thank you, Harlequin. I love you guys and I appreciate it. And we're just getting started.
All right, we love you. We're proud to have you part of the team. And for those friends of yours, Rebecca, that you run across that you may have already told that you're in the funding business, I bet you're going back to them again and saying, oh, by the way, I don't know if I told you this or not, but I'm in the funding business, right? You're telling them multiple times just as a constant reminder.
I just said that on the train this morning I did with Mrs. Barnes, is that it's a constant conversation. I mean, it's a constant conversation to remind the people. And then just, yeah, everyone knows. Everyone's going to know consistently.
Excellent. Well, you definitely have shown what it takes to make it happen, that consistent and deliberate activity every single day. All right, we're going to get back into slide share here. As I said, I've got a lot of good information to cover tonight. So let's move on to the next slide. All right, so as I said, we've got some updates on the comp plan. I talked about that for the past couple of weeks, where the requirements to get to DAC 1 and DAC 2 have been enhanced a little bit. So just so you know, the compensation document has been updated, and David just updated video 1 of the compensation plan series. So if you go to the Agent Resource Center and look under the big green number 3 at the top of the page there, the compensation video series has 3 different videos. Video 1 covers your personal commissions and how to earn commissions on your personally enrolled agents. That video has just been updated, so you want to make sure you go watch it. But I'm going to take a little bit deeper dive into some of that right now, because that tends to be a little confusing for most new people. And honestly, our compensation plan is going to be a little bit confusing until you start earning commissions and then really analyze and study that payout that you got. But I'm going to clear up some of that confusion tonight. So one thing that I pointed out last week is the new amped and engaged qualification status. So you want to get amped and stay amped and get to DAC 4 as quickly as you can. As I said, DAC 4 is the highest level in our DAC comp plan. We have 2 comp plans. We have the DAC funding bonuses, and that's how you move through DAC 1, DAC 2, DAC 4, AD, and so on through the leadership ranks. That's through funding bonuses. And then we also have our unilevel pay plan, which is the residual side that gets paid out by our partners at Longevity. Okay, but we're going to focus on the funding bonuses tonight, getting amped and getting yourself to DAC 4 as quickly as possible. All right, so to get to DAC 4, you got to have fundings, right? So I'm going to quickly touch on a few slides that I pulled from the DAC website training that I sent out last week. If you haven't seen that, you want to go through it. It's great training, and it'll get you crystal clear on making sure that you're marketing your pages correctly and not including unnecessary data that could probably screw up your client getting to your pages. But the point is here, all 3 of these tabs at the top of the page are our funding pages and have content that speaks to different audiences. You want to look at them as a landing page that has a lead capture page function built into it if your client goes to either the self-employed funding, the first page, the business capital, the second page, or the line of credit. All 3 of these are funding. And if the client fills out that very first form with their basic information and they click submit, that is a lead capture. You're going to get information on who that client is. Okay. It's all going to go over to our intuitive Bank Breezy application, which goes here, right? You'll see your agent information and agent ID number. It says business funding's never been easier. Even the line of credit app, all 3 of these are the exact same, right? They'll fill out their name, the company name, their mobile, and email. When they click submit, that's when you get the email triggered to you. Now, once they click submit, they're going to answer a few questions about their business. They're going to answer, are they operating through a business checking account or a personal account? How long have they been in business? what their average monthly revenue is, and what their FICO score is. And based on their answers, they're going to be diverted automatically either over to our Bank Breezy funding, which is for those clients that are doing over 15,000 operating through a business checking account. They're going to be diverted over to a line of credit. If they've been in business at least 1 year and are doing at least 15,000 a month in revenue, they're going to get sent over to Biddy Advance. If they have, if they're doing between 5 and 15,000 in revenue, if they're operating through a business checking account and have a FICO score of at least 550, and if none of the above fits, and they're doing at least 3,000 a month in revenue, then they're going to get sent over to our newest lending partner of Giggle. But all of these are considered our Bank Breezy umbrella, but then we have our in-house Bank Breezy team for those larger fundings. Okay. Now, after your client fills out that first page, you're going to get an email with the subject line, Bank Breezy submission started. And then that email, when you open it up, it's going to include the client's name, phone number, and email. And then in blue, it's going to say details. This is where you need to pay close attention on that notification email, because this couple of paragraphs is going to tell you where your client got sent to. It's going to be one of the 4 places that I just covered, right? It automatically diverts to one of the 4. So it's going to tell you what their lowest monthly revenue was. That's going to be a determining factor of where they get diverted. It's also going to tell you whether it's a business or a personal account. A quick shortcut here is if it says personal account, it always will only go to Giggle unless they have less than 3,000 in revenue, and then they're going to get a decline notice. But if it's a personal account, it always goes over to Giggle as the only option. And then their stated FICO score, right? So based on their answers, we forward them to the appropriate online app. And then it's going to have, your email is going to have this image in the email to help you determine and show you all of the different qualifying factors. So when you receive that email, just study it and understand which one of these lending partners your client went to. If they applied for a line of credit, instead of saying Bank Breezy submission started, it'll say line of credit application started, something like that. But it'll tell you in the subject line that it's been a line of credit application started. But if it's a submission for funding, one of these 3 is the only option. Again, just read the email, reference back to the details in this paragraph, and then you know where the client went. Or it may say not qualified at this time if their lowest revenue was less than $3,000, right? So that's the process to getting started, to getting yourself moving through the process of DAC 1, DAC 2, DAC 4, and so on. You have to have funding clients going through this process. Another thing I'll say is when you start getting these emails, don't be disappointed if you have several of these emails coming in before you have someone that even goes through the process. I receive dozens of notifications a day that people have started applications, but a lot of them don't even meet the minimum requirement. So again, if you'll just reference the details in that paragraph, it'll help you understand where your clients are getting caught in the process, if they're moving on through, or if they're just kind of getting stuck. And it also might help you determine which page and what your message to market needs to be to try to get towards some of those bigger fundings. And you'll understand that as I move through the next few slides here. So again, if you don't have pen and paper, you probably want to grab that right now, because you're going to want to write down some of the things I'm sharing with you. All right, so business capital, this is the page that I think speaks to all business owners, and I think is your best tool if you want to market to higher revenue businesses. Like Alicia said, she had a $15,000 funding and a $30,000 funding. Those are the clients that you really want to be bringing into your funnel, because those larger clients are going to qualify for Bank Breezy. Bank Breezy is where the client has the best option to get multiple offers from all of the top lenders. Our in-house team goes to work competitively getting that best offer for your client. So it's going to be the best offer for your client. So it's a win-win for them. And it's going to be a higher funding for you with a higher commission attached. So it's a win-win for you and your client, right? Higher revenue businesses have higher approval odds and will earn you higher commissions. So this is the page that I always lead with. All of my domains that talk about funding point to this page. When I say domains, you know, I have DACfundingoptions.com. It points to this page of my David Allen Capital website so that it redirects, and it's a simple redirect for the client to go to. Now, if you're using that page, always make sure that you must add your agent ID number to the end of any link of your page. When you go clicking around different links on your website, if you don't have your agent ID number in the link at the end of the page and you send that out, then your information is not going to be attached. So always make sure your agent ID number is at the end of the link. Okay. Now, what I was sharing on the compensation plan updates, here's where we go. This has been added that we now have to have a total number and a total funded value for new personal clients. All right. Last month, before July kicked in, you didn't have to have a quota or a funded value quota to go to DAC 1 or DAC 2, but that's been added to kind of increase the quality of fundings that are going through before you start moving up the ranks to earn higher commissions. So I'm going to get into that. Let's talk about funded value first on that definition. So funded value, or FV, that is the amount that is used in our compensation plan to determine all commissions and all of the bonus volume, or BV, and all of the qualifying volume known as QV, right? Generally, the funded value is equal to the funding amount of the loan or advance, in most cases advances, but it may be lower periodically, or it may be lower depending on the product. So as we look at, get my slides to move. There we go. As we look at Bank Breezy and Biddy Advance clients, these are the ones that are typically going to be 100%. So the businesses that are doing at least $5,000 a month in revenue and operating out of a business checking account, those new Bank Breezy and Biddy Advance fundings are usually going to be 100% of the funded value, dollar for dollar, but could be lower or higher depending on the final terms. I know Harlequin has a big deal in the works right now, like a $300,000 funding. And there was some negotiation going on that could cause that funded value to be less than the actual dollar amount, but we'll see how it all washes out in the end. Okay. But that's what we mean when it said it could be lower or could be higher. And my screen is not wanting to go. There we go. All right. Now, Giggle clients, which is your lowest funding and the one where everybody that has a personal checking account gets sent to, new Giggle fundings are going to be 70% funded value, and are only reported to us monthly on the 15th of the month for the prior month's funding. So right now we're waiting today to get June's Giggle totals from Giggle. They're smaller fundings, ranging from $400 to $5,000 max. Our average is running about $1,000 to $1,100 on the funded dollar that the client gets, but our funded value is only 70%. So they're only going to count, Giggle clients are only going to count as a new client for you to move through the ranks, and as a new client for you to move through the customer count numbers, and for getting amped up. They're only going to count if the total cumulative value is $6,000, all added together on Giggle. So you want to make sure that you understand that, because if you don't, you might be marketing the wrong page. And if you're marketing the wrong page, then you're probably going to have a lot of fundings before you can get amped up and before you can move through the comp plan. The last one here is business line of credit. This one also is paid at a reduced value. So the funded value usually equals the drawn amount times 30%. So Giggle reduced value at 70%, business lines of credit reduced value at 30%. Okay. But it could be higher or lower depending on the final terms. A client who has 50,000 approved line of credit and would draw out 20,000, the funded value for that would be 20,000 times 3% or 6,000 funded value. So in our new compensation standards here, you have to have a total of 6,000 funded value to count for amped up and be able to count as a client. So if you get a BIDI advanced client and they only get $4,000, that's not going to count for amped, and that's not going to count as a client to move you through the compensation plan. So total has to be 6,000 funded value to count as a client for amped and to move through the comp plan. So back to what I was saying about the gig page. If you're leading with this page in the self-employed funding, trust me, there is nothing wrong with this. I have a lot of friends who are gig workers. I started my limousine business as a gig worker a little over 8 years ago. I got started driving Uber very part-time when it first came to Atlanta, and I quickly learned that the transportation industry was a very lucrative industry to be in. I met a guy, he said, Ellen, you need to get a black SUV and let's start our own limo company. It did take me but about a month to figure out that was a good move. So that's how I actually got started in limousine, as through Uber and Lyft, right? But if you're leading with this page, you're going to be targeting the most difficult and highest risk audience to fund. Nothing against those folks in the gig industry, just a matter of the lower the revenue, the higher the risk for a lender. So not all, but a majority of the applicants who are going to be attracted to this page will get sent to our partners at Giggle Finance. And again, that funding range is 400 to 5,000 with an average of about 1,100. So you're going to receive commissions on this, not daily, like we do the BIDI Advance and the Bank Breezy. This is going to be a weekly payout. So clients that are funded this month, you're going to get your commission around the 17th of the following month. So if you're needing cash, this is not your target audience either. Plus, your Giggle clients need to add together and have a total funded value of at least 6,000 for it to count as a customer and to be amped up for rank advancement. So you may want to take a screenshot of that slide before I move on, just to have that as a mental note for who you're marketing to. So again, I would lead with the business funding page, but let's go through moving through the ranks. And this is what transpired with Jebecca going through getting to DAC 4. Okay, and I'm going to give you this as an example on a $10,000 funding, make it nice round numbers so it's easy for me to do the calculations and move through quickly on this. Okay, so $10,000 funding. Your first funding is always going to pay you 3%. That's what the commission, that's our standard commission, is 3%. So if your first funding is a $10,000 funding, that's going to pay you 3% or $300 commission on that, right? In this example, since I used 10,000, that counted as one client and it counted as 10,000 funded value, that met the requirements to get promoted to DAC 1. Now that you've leveled up to DAC 1, that's going to add an extra percentage, 10% actually, to your personal commissions if you're engaged, or not just personal commissions. If you have a team and you're a DAC 1 and someone below you is just a DAC 0, hasn't hit DAC 1 yet, you'll earn an extra 10% override if there's not another DAC 1 between you and them. I don't want to get too deep in that, but I want you to understand how you can earn this extra money on your own commission. So in this case, it moves you up to DAC 1. Now, as a DAC 1, if that next client comes on board, you get somebody funded within the next 30 days, which means you're amped up, you're going to earn 6%. And let's say that next client is another $10,000 funding. 6% of 10,000 would be $600. But here's how that extra 10% works. So you get an extra 10% of your 600, which is $60, added on to the 600. So now you've earned $660 on that $10,000 funding as a DAC 1. So essentially, as long as you're amped up as a DAC 1, you're really earning 6.6% of the funded value of those clients. Again, you got to be amped, but as a DAC 1, you're making 6.6% instead of just 6 because of this extra 10% bonus. If the next client is within 60 days and you've fallen out of amped up status, but you're still considered engaged, because notice here, the comp plan shows that you earn these extra commissions if you're engaged. So if that next client is within 60 days, you've fallen out of amped up status, so you're not making that double, you're not making the 6%, you've gone back down to the standard 3%, you're still going to make the extra 10. So you'd make 3% of the 10,000 for $300 plus 10% of the 300 is an extra 30. Now you've made $330 instead of the 660, right? So if you're just engaged as a DAC 1, you make 3.3%. If you're amped up, you make 6.6%. And here's the caveat: if you don't stay busy and you don't keep bringing clients to the table, if you're not amped up and you're not engaged, then it goes back to standard 3% on your compensation, no matter what your rank is, because this is you got to have, it's a production compensation plan. So if you go more than 60 days without getting a funding or getting engaged through some of the other means in the compensation plan, then you go back to the standard 3% commission. Okay. So remember, amped up means that you're amped for double commissions for 30 days. It automatically makes you engaged because amped up and engaged are simultaneous there. Amped lasts 30 days and then engaged continues on for an additional 30 days for 60 days total. All right. Here are the ways to get engaged to be eligible for that extra 10% as a DAC 1. One of 5 ways. You're brand new, your first 60 days in the business, you're automatically considered engaged and eligible for those matching bonuses. And this also applies to you earning your enroller bonus, the extra 25 or 50% or even up to 100% if your new agent gets the funding in their first 30 days and you earn that fast start, right? The second way is any new client funded value. So you can get a line of credit client and they do that initial $2,000 drawdown. It's not $6,000 funded value, but it is some funded value. So that will get you engaged. Also, a renewal funded value. If it's Giggle, it's got to be 6,000 total monthly, or if it's a line of credit, it's got to be 6,000. Those are cumulative. That will count towards engaged and qualified at AD or above when you hit the leadership ranks that require team activity, auto engage there. Or if you have 6 active customer finance clients on the books, then that makes you engaged as well. So you can actually earn those overrides without having to get personal clients if you're number 4 AD or above, or number 5 and have those customer finance clients. So you might want to consider marketing that customer finance program and building that client base just in case you get to a point where you miss a month or miss 2 months without having a personal funding. You'll still be engaged and eligible to earn on your team, right? Make sense? All right, good. All right, now let's take a look at what happens here. After you got that second client, all right, and we're using 10,000 as that example, then that also moved you up to DAC 2. And that second client was going to pay anywhere from $300 to $660, depending on whether you were engaged or amped up in the compensation plan. And as long as it had, in this case, it was 10,000 for the first client, 10,000 for the second. Now you got a 20K funded value minimum requirement of 2 clients. That moved you up to DAC 2. Now you get an extra 15% commission. So as a DAC 2, if you get your next client within 30 days while you're amped up, then you're going to make that 6%. And again, using that same example of a $10,000 client as the next one, $600, but add the 15% commission bonus there. So 600 times the extra 15% is another $90, so $690. So DAC 2 will actually pay you 6.9% of the funding if you're amped when you get your next client as a DAC 2. If you only are engaged and you get that next client within 60 days, then you go back to the 300, the 3%. but you still are qualified for that extra 15%, right? 300 times 15% is an extra $45. So you'd make 345 as a DAC 2 who is engaged. Again, if you're not engaged at all, haven't gotten a personal client in the past 60 days, or not engaged according to the other 5 ways, then you just go back to the standard 3% in the compensation plan. All right. So next client, 300 to 660, getting up to DAC 2. Then you get another one and another one. These next clients you're going to get paid as a DAC 2 until you have a total of 4 clients and a total funded value, cumulative funded value of 40,000. Once you do that, then you get to DAC 4, just as Jebecca Jones did. Congratulations again. And you're leveled up to DAC 4. Now you're making some serious money on your personal fundings. Because here's the deal. If you're a DAC 4 and you're amped up, getting a client in your next 30 days, pays you 6%. Plus now you get a 30% match on that 600, which is an extra $180, total of 780. So DAC 4, as long as you're amped, it pays 7.8%. So let me run through these again. If you're DAC 1 and you're amped up, you're actually going to make 6.6% on your personal clients. If you're not amped, you're just engaged, it's 3.3. And if you're not amped or engaged, you're going to make just 3%, right? DAC 2 was 6.9%. If you are amped up, that's what you're going to make on your next client, as long as you're amped, 6.9%. If you're not amped, you're just engaged, 3.45. If you're not engaged or amped, 3%, right? And as a DAC 4, 7.8%. If you get that next client after 30 days and you fall into engaged only, it goes back to paying you 3%. But still getting that 30% match. So an extra $90 for 390. So if you're amped, 7.8, engaged only 3.9% as a DAC 4. And I know Jebecca is going, Ellen, thank you for showing me this, because I am staying amped up. I'm on my way to AD for sure. I know you are. All right. And if you're DAC 4 and you go more than 60 days or are not qualified as engaged according to the comp plan, then you go back to 3%, no matter what your rank is. Okay. Those ranks are there permanently, but you have to produce to get those extra bonuses and that double pay that goes along with it. So again, maximize your earning potential, get amped, stay amped, and make a run to DAC 4 as quickly as you can. Remember, one new client has to have a total funded value of $6,000. That's going to amp you up for 30 days and count as a new client in the compensation plan. So that's my slide share for tonight, going through some details on compensation and really making sure that you guys understand that. So there's no, oh, I missed that piece in the comp plan. It's really simple. The best part is if you stay busy and you stay active and you keep clients coming in, you just keep moving up. And the same thing with your team. If they're following and also getting clients as well, then they're moving through the comp plan. And all of a sudden, you've got several different legs in your organization that are building and having fundings. And then you've got enough fundings in your organization to move you through those ranks of AD, area director, regional director, national director, and regional vice president. So at this time, I'm going to see if we've got any questions from our group. We've got lots of chat messages going on. I'm sure a lot of those were congratulatory messages. Yeah, and some of those were congratulations to Harlequin when I mentioned that you've got a big one in the works, and she doesn't want to talk about that. She's like, let's just wait and make sure this happens. But I think it's noteworthy that those big fundings are out there. Wade Cordell, who is the director over at our partner in lending with Bank Breezy, Wade has had the highest dollar fundings of any agent in DAC because he's also a DAC agent. He's had more big fundings than anybody, cumulative value than anyone, because he's had a $300,000 and a $400,000 funding, I think. those came through Warm Market. Those came through him either handing out his drop card or having a conversation with a friend or a neighbor who referred Wade to someone that got funding through us. So can't emphasize enough the importance of talking to your Warm Market. So I see Ashanti has her hand up. I'm gonna ask you to unmute. Get you up here.
Good evening.
Hello, welcome.
Good evening. Thank you for your time and thank you for the breakdown. My question is if they do qualify for that last funding with the breakdown, will we receive emails on the updates on all of them, whether they are approved or not, or do we just receive the email of the approval?
Okay, let me make sure I'm understanding. So I covered that when they fill out that first page, you're gonna get an email saying Bank Breezy application started, right? And
Right.
then depending on which lender they get sent to, so you want to go back to that email and look at the details section to see how much money they said they were doing, whether they had a personal or business account, and if their FICO was 550 or above or below. And then look at that diagram because that determines which lender they went to. Then that's a great question because there's another tool in the Agent Resource Center that you want to refer to. The email will have all of it kind of laid out for you, but there's a quick reference sheet in the Agent Resource Center. So if you go there and under the business capital and line of credit section, number 1, there's a 5-page PDF document that is a quick reference guide. And if you look at that, once you determine from the email which one of the funding partners your client went to, then you can look at that quick reference guide and go, okay, this client went to Biddy Advance. Go down to the Biddy Advance sequence and it'll show you, there'll be a little pink icon showing you when an email would get triggered to you, okay? So you can use that and put those two together to know when the next email comes out. If you're not getting that next email, that means that your client has stopped and has not moved along any further in the process. You can reach out to them and encourage them. You can say, hey, I see you got your application started, but I didn't see you move any further along. Did you have some questions, some concerns? Can I help you with something? Just sometimes that personal reach out will help them move through, especially if you're doing things online and social media, or you're running ads of any sort where there's no real person involved in it until there's a conversation started. And then sometimes that conversation can help them increase their comfort level to move on through the process to the next stage of the application. Did that answer your question, or was there something else?
Nope, you answered my next question as well. So I was just trying to figure out how to put them together and you answered it. Thank you very much. And thank you for your time today.
You bet. You're welcome. Thanks for the question. Good stuff. And I have Carol with a hand up. I'm going to ask you to unmute, Carol.
Hello, first time here. I'm really excited. So I have a quick question. So it's not dependent upon the dollar amount that is funded to move through the different levels. It's like one fund could be like your first fund could even be like 50,000, and that would count as one level. Then your next one could be 10, and that would be level 2, and so on and so forth. Is that correct?
Kind of, sort of.
Okay.
Let's go back and give another example. Let's say your first funding was only 5,000. Okay. It wouldn't count as a client because you got to have 6,000 funded value to count as a client. So you'd get paid your commission on that $5,000 funding the next day, unless that 5,000 was through Giggle, and then you won't get paid for a month, right? But let's say that first one was 5,000 through Biddy Advance. It didn't count as a client, and it didn't count, but it counted 5,000 in funded value towards the 10,000 to go to DAC 1. Okay, you got paid. It counted towards your cumulative value, but it didn't count as a client. Let's say the next one was 6,000 funded value. So now it counts as that one customer that you need, 6,000 plus the 5,000. Now you have 11. So between those two clients, you have one client count that counted. You have 11,000 in funded value, which exceeds your 10,000 minimum to move you to DAC 1. Did that help clarify that?
Kind of. The reason I asked is because what I'm hitting or going after is the construction. So, these are like large numbers. So I'm looking at more hopefully like, 20,000 and above funded.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
because these are people that need bridge loans and capital because they move between projects.
sure. And construction is absolutely our largest industry. So you're smart working in that direction. And you will find those larger fundings there, which will help you move through the compensation plan faster. Because if it's a $20,000 funding, it counts as a client, moves you up to DAC 1. The second funding, you've already got 20,000 if that first one was 20. So your second funding could be only 6,000 and it would move you to DAC 2 because you meet both of the requirements. So yeah, that's going to move you through quickly and get you up to DAC 4. I believe Jebecca only had 4 fundings, I think. Is that correct, Jebecca, to get to DAC 4 because of the volume that you had in those along the way? Or Harlequin, maybe you can
Yeah,
verify that.
Jebecca, he told me he had another commitment at 9:00.
Yeah.
But yeah, his last funding was for 30, well, the funded value was $30,000. So
Yeah, so
35,000, excuse me.
yep. He only had 4 clients to get to
Yes.
DAC 4. On the other hand, we've had a lot of agents that it took them 7, 8, or even 9 fundings to get a total of 40,000 in funded value to get to DAC 4. So it really depends on the market that you're after. But again, if you're targeting that larger dollar industry in construction, you're right on the mark. Your clients are going to get better offers because it goes through the multiple lenders rather than just Giggle. Because let's say this, if your client gets diverted over to Giggle, there's no option. There's only one lender, and that is Giggle that makes the offer. And the offer is what it is. If they get diverted over to Biddy Advance, Biddy is the only lender that sees that package, and the offer is what it is. If they get diverted to Bank Breezy because they're doing over 15,000, now that opens up a number of lenders that are going to look at that file, that are going to have an opportunity to bid on that file, therefore giving the client the true best solution that's available in the marketplace with the unsecured revenue-based lending. So that's really the market that we can best serve, is that market that's 15,000 and above. Thank you for your question. All right. Do we have any other questions or comments in the chat that we need to answer?
Yeah, we have somebody who's got a situation which I'm going to help with her personally with it, but
Say reach
she-
out. Yep.
yeah, she has a situation where a client got an offer, but they're saying that their credit is locked and they've determined that it's not. And what is the normal process with that?
Who's determined that it's not?
The client has contacted their credit bureaus and they say that it's not locked.
Yeah, if they've contacted all 3 of them, I would suggest the client reach back out to the lender to say, hey, I have verified that it's not. They may also want to verify the social that they're running. Maybe they've got a digit off. If the client says it's not locked and the credit bureaus say it's not locked, maybe they have a wrong digit in there and they're trying to pull credit on somebody else. So I would just verify that.
Okay, and then Victor is asking if you can talk about strategies to get clients.
Yeah, strategies to get clients. Go back to the Victor, you and I are specifically going to talk about your scenario, but strategies to get clients are covered in video 2 in the Agent Resource Center when David talks about our funding training, right? He goes through the different ways our funding works, different ways to reach out, communication there. Plus, if you go over to the workbook, which is also at the top of the Agent Resource Center, there is a blue link to the Super Saturday workbook that has some very useful text messages and some email examples there, starting around page 49. You're going to find a whole litany of scripts and conversational messages that you can send out by either text or email or through Facebook Messenger, whatever platform you're communicating on, or even picking up the phone and just talking to a friend or family member and letting them know that you've just gotten started in the funding space. But I think Jebecca's testimonial earlier, where he's just reaching out to people and saying, hey, I don't know if I told you or not, but I'm now in the funding space and I can help small business owners get money if they can't get approved at the bank. So keep me in mind, if you hear of anybody needing money, I am in business funding, right? And letting everybody in your market know that. But other than that strategy, which we'll do one-on-one, Victor, I think that's the big picture for everybody, is to go through, one, do your warm market list. I do a warm market strategy or warm market memory jogger, I should say, that Eric Worre put out, and it is listed in my new agent orientation that's in video, the first email that everybody gets. I take you through that, and he takes you through a memory jogger, which is really created to help you come up with a list of everybody that you know, everybody you've run across in life, and different examples that will bring back and trigger memories of people that you may have forgotten about otherwise. Using that, going through your phone list, going through your Facebook list, going through all of your contacts, and really going through and making a list of everybody you know, and then sorting those and saying, okay, if I were starting a multi-million-dollar business, which you are, by the way, you have the ability to have a multi-million-dollar business here with DAC. If you were starting that business from scratch and you were looking for a board of directors that you wanted to help work that business and help you manage and run the business and get it off the ground, who would that board of directors be? And those are the people that I would reach out to first in my warm market, the most successful people, the most creative people that you know, and the most influential people that you know. Those are the ones that you want to reach out to and let them know that you're in the funding space. Outside of that, just start following the reach out methods, and then take the different methods that David talks about in our training and start with the method that you already have some knowledge level of, whether it's the emailing or the texting or social media, whichever method, reach out method you've done before. Take that and build on it. Use that as a starting point, and then build and expand your abilities through other methods. I also encourage people to go back and look at the Agent Resource Center at the Agent of the Month interviews. We've got some great calls with the Duhaimes. They do cold calling. They build their business from another country, so they're really good at picking up the phone and talking to business owners that they don't know. We have Shantae Roddy, who has done tremendously well with her social media and building business groups on Facebook, to where she's building an audience of small business owners. And then we have Jebecca and others in the group that are doing TikTok and doing Instagram reels and other social media forms of reaching out and announcing to their communities that they're in the funding space. So a variety of ways to do that, but I'd say just plug into the training and then narrow down what your game plan is on which one of those avenues that you want to approach and go after. All right. Anybody else have questions? We're going to wrap up if not.
We do have somebody, besides the construction industries, what are other industries that would be best for working capital?
Yeah, construction by far. And if you think of construction, you got a lot of different peripherals off of that, right? There's so many different folks that you could market to in construction space. And when we say construction, it's not new home construction, as far as we don't do construction loans, right? We fund the HVAC, the roofers, the contractors, the sidewall, the concrete guys, the ones that are out there that need equipment to purchase And as she said earlier, doing a bridge loan between. Maybe you've got somebody that's on a net 30 or a net 60 on some of their projects, and they need money to buy inventory or buy tools or product or hire help for that next big job, and they don't have the cash flow coming in, so we can help them with that. We do a lot in the trucking industry too, but I will caution you, the trucking space is a high risk industry. If the business is not doing at least 20,000 a month, they're super high risk, just because a lot of the trucking is a solo operator. And if they're the only operator out there, if something happens with that truck, it goes down, their revenue can stop instantly. So think of that. Construction is number one. Another industry that's very good is the medical field, where you've got dental offices and medical offices. I like thinking of that field because not only, and construction as well, not only are those industries that need our funding, but they're also great industries for our customer financing product, because they have high ticket items. So you can have a multifaceted conversation with those when you're talking about funding, lines of credit, and our customer finance. And a word to you, if you're marketing to that higher end client that's doing over 15,000 a month, which we recommend, you might want to start that conversation with, you're in the funding space and you specialize in unsecured lines of credit as the number one thing, unsecured lines of credit and unsecured working capital. A lot of business owners will be open to line of credit conversation, even though they need money today. Most of them will not admit that they need money today, but they will be saying, hey, yeah, I could use a line of credit. How does that work? And they'll talk to you about that. Whereas if you ask them about funding, they may not be willing to say, yeah, I need some money today. How does that work? So line of credit is a great door opener for you, as Harlequin can attest with conversations with some of the organizations and associations that she's been involved with. All right. Any other questions before we wrap up? We have been here for a little over an hour, or a little over an hour. So I'm going to wrap us up if we don't have anybody else pop in here at the last minute. Anything to wrap up with, Harlequin?
I think there was somebody asking about what industries we do, but I think it's easier to say we don't do attorneys, adult entertainment. Most nonprofits are difficult.
Pawn shops and
Pawn shop.
firearms.
Okay.
Yep.
And
But everything
yes,
else, so over 700 industries that we can do funding in. But yeah, it's easier to hit what we don't do. And we do not fund inventory for used auto lots and boat lots and all of that. I had someone call the other day. If it's a used car lot and they have a mechanic shop on site and they've got revenue coming in through their repairs, then we can sometimes help them, but we don't do funding for inventory. Okay, Carol's got her hand up again. I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Just one last quick question. I'm sorry. Here in Las Vegas, we have and I don't even know if they'll need it, but the the cannabis industry.
Mhm.
Is that is that okay if it's legal?
We do,
or?
yeah. We do
Okay.
funding in the cannabis space. On credit card processing, that's a no. On payment processing, but funding is a yes. So good question.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Okay, all right, everybody. Thank you so much. That's going to wrap us up for the evening. Thank you for your time tonight. Our next Zoom is going to be Friday, our agent Zoom, our agent update with David Rutz, our company founder and president. So make sure you make plans on attending that. There's always new updates coming along. I'll let you know and keep you abreast of anything that happens between now and then if something pops up. Okay, thanks everybody. Have a great evening. We'll see you on the next Zoom. Take care.
thank you, everybody.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.